Yo, Benny! I don't think he's home, man. Benny, man, yo. Yo, what's up, everybody? I'm MC Savant from the Cankersaurs. You can catch me on funnyordie.com/Cankersaurs, K-A-N-K-S-O-R-Z, you know what I'm saying? But right now, it's all about Benny TV. Yo, because my boy Benny the Gagoots got his own show. And I just want to give a big shout out to Benny. And in honor of that, I'm going to do a dope-ass freestyle, man. So he's got to figure out what rhymes with Benny. 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 What rhymes with Benny? Benny. What rhymes with Benny? Benny. He's in the Serengeti. He's hunting for a Yeti and he's always on the ready. And Benny's always merry when he's eating his spaghetti. But right now he's in the desert, so his palms are kind of sweaty. His good friend Freddie, he brought him that Ben and Jerry. And Yetis, they love the Ben and Jerry. So Benny caught that Yeti and we all threw confetti. Yeah, Benny. Benny TV, baby.
Yeah.
All right. Here we are with the Benny TV.
Benny TV, baby.
Episode 3,474.
Wow.
We've been on the air for 17 years. Almost as long as The Simpsons.
Wow.
We got a really good run going. So we got a fun episode tonight. It's kind of a grab bag episode. Kind of a wild card, the wild card episode.
Wild card.
We're going to talk about a little bit about everything. You don't have to copy everything I do.
I just like that.
You're not like you're like my puppet. So just gonna be a little bit of everything tonight. We're gonna talk about a little bit of everything. That's what we usually do on this show. This is the show where we talk about everything: movies, television, comics. But today we're gonna talk. I'm gonna do 2 movie reviews. I'm gonna review Us, that just came out this week. Jordan Peele's Us, and I'm gonna review Shazam, which doesn't come out for another 2 weeks. So those are some fun things, and we're gonna talk about everything. We're gonna talk about why I'm limping a little bit, why I can't fly, you know, whether or not the Earth's flat. It's going to be a fun show. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff
Wow,
tonight.
good. Yeah, I've always wondered about that.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of documentaries you can watch. So you had a fun weekend?
I had a great weekend. I really enjoyed myself. As we had advertised during the past month. As advertised. The Keith Fitz Roast.
Keith Fitz Memorial Roast.
Keith Fitz Memorial Roast.
Memorial Birthday Roast.
Memorial Birthday Roast. That's right. It was a lot of fun. Keith Fitz is he performs stand-up comedy and he plays guitar. And as I told him, the only difference between him and Jim Brewer is talent. So I had a lot of fun. Keith's a good friend of mine. You know him as well. Very talented. And he sells knives and swords too. He's a man of many talents. And I had so much fun.
You got to bury a body, you go to Keith Fitz.
You go to Keith Fitz, yes. And probably he might even do it for you for a little fee.
Yeah, you just slide it onto the table. So the roast, there was a bunch of comedians on. Les Deegan was the roast master. Roast master, Les Deegan.
Good friend, and Les Deegan looks like he's like a really nice, well-dressed. He wore a tuxedo, and he wore a tux with a little tie, and he seems so well-mannered and mild-mannered, but he can rip you, and so he got all of us, and then I was the first guy to go up, and I didn't even know I kept asking, what's the lineup? And I think because you bother somebody too much.
They just go, Betty goes first.
Betty goes first. Let's get Betty out of our hair. And one of the reasons I had a great time is I actually put a lot of work into that. You know, I've seen roasts and I watched some of the old ones with Dean Martin. I watched some of those to get my feet wet again and back into it. And I wrote a really nice. I wrote a really nice script. I wrote an actual script. It was like 7.5 pages and I read the whole thing. I had practiced, and I had it down to about 10 minutes, and then I cut a little bit more. So you're supposed to do 7 minutes. I went over a little bit.
7.5.
Yeah, they made me first. I was like, I'm gonna.
That's what you did.
That's
you
what
made me first. I'm gonna go a little long.
And I was confident with my material.
Yeah, and from what I've been told, you did amazing.
Yes.
You killed. Unfortunately, I was on assignment for the show, watching Shazam, so I wasn't able to go to the roast.
Which is so cool, by the way. I was at the roast. I wish I had known about Shazam a few, but no, I'm happy because it
We're
was
friends. Me and Shazam are friends.
birthday of a good friend. That's how you got in.
Yeah, we're
birthday
good friends.
Birthday of a good friend. Les Deegan, Tim Thompson. What's her name there? No, Jessica Colazzo. John Santo was on the show.
John Santo, friend of the show. Jessica Colazzo, friend of the show.
Friend of the
Tim
show.
Thompson, friend of the show.
Tim Thompson. Lee West, who used to have he used to have his own show in the studio as well. Reality
friend
TV.
of the studio,
friend of the studio, friend of the show. A lot of great comics. People I haven't seen in a long time, and as I said, it was fun because I came out and I did my thing, and then when Tim Thompson went up, he looked at me and he said, "What did you write, a speech?" And I pretty much wrote his speech, like you know.
You're never gonna run for office. This was the only chance you had.
And I wanted to remember everything because there are comedians that are that good that all they need is to write a couple of notes and go over each person. I wrote jokes about each person. I wanted to get it right, so I practiced, and I was really proud of it. I spent like 2 weeks of coming out with stuff in my head, and then I wrote it Friday night and Saturday. And it had a great time. It was a beautiful party. They had food. As I said, it was $15 and your drinks and your food was included. It was really good. Good food, good atmosphere, and at that, we call it a flea market. It's actually a room next to the flea market.
Oh, okay.
It's not in the flea market. They aren't making
it's
sales.
flea market adjacent.
Adjacent to the flea market, and it's called the Monarch Lounge in Farmingville. Okay. And it's a nice room because it's a room that they could do. It's not like everything is just set there like the table. They can move the tables and chairs. They have a stage. They have a sound system, lighting. So it's it's a real room. It's not like some of these open mics that's in a bar and you're on the tile floor in the corner or somewhere. There's an actual stage with lighting. And there was a Cher impersonator. Female Cher impersonator who sang 3 songs before the show. So
Did she sing "I Believe in Life After Love"?
yes, she did.
Did you believe in Turn Back Time?
Yes, she sang that, and
Did she sing Fernando?
I don't know that. I can't tell you.
No.
I don't know if she sang she sang "Gypsies, Tramps, and Thieves." Gypsies, Tramps, and Thieves. You don't know that song? Okay, it's a good one. I think they sang that in the soundtrack of the movie The Wolfman.
All right, on that note, we're going to go to a break. And that was a great talk.
Yes.
You guys all missed the Roast of Key Fitz. It was the greatest thing.
It was a lot of fun. There were a lot of people there.
It was much better than the roast of Justin Bieber. It was great. That's what I've heard on the street. You can find the video somewhere on the internet.
Yeah, it's all over the internet.
Somewhere on the internet, you just find it. Roast of Key Fitz. And we're gonna go to a video of one of my favorite films of my childhood, and I will explain why when we come back. And here we go. Here's the trailer for Heavyweights.
Cool.
Food! Mom, pull over! Yeah, I'm starving.
Far from the everyday world, there is a place where big
Congratulations, Mr. Sims. You are the fattest boy in camp.
is beautiful
Chipmunks, download!
and thin isn't it.
This is definitely not sanitary.
For Jerry and his friends, it was a dream come true. Until the new owner
That is out of here, mister!
Oh no.
turned it into a nightmare.
Lunch has been canceled today due to lack of hustle.
Now, after 6 weeks of frustration,
Then we're gonna climb that 1,000-foot rock face over there.
starvation,
There isn't a gummy bear left in this entire camp.
and humiliation,
Nice swing, you fat tubbo.
Everyone having fun?
Jerry's out to do something far more important than lose a few pounds.
I have a plan.
He's out to gain respect.
What is going on?
You can't kidnap the owner of a camp!
Welcome to the annual Apache Relay.
We're as good as anybody. And it's about time we started acting that way.
Take him down, Cappy.
Walt Disney Pictures presents a A comedy for every kid.
Tell me the artist and title, please.
Cher?
Da Vinci's Mona Lisa.
Tired of taking it.
I'm so slow. It would have been cool to go fast.
And ready to dish it out. Heavyweights.
And we're back. That was Heavyweights.
Heavyweights, I remember it well.
Not only is it one of the best films of the 90s, it is one of the first films to be written and produced by Judd Apatow of 40-Year-Old Virgin, Knocked Up, Trainwreck fame, and produced a dozen other big movies in the past 10 years. And it also, Ben Stiller in one of his first leading roles as the villain is Tony Perkis. And the one thing about this that is always resonates well with me is the fact that Ben Stiller's character is a more toned up version of his character in Dodgeball. I would say his character in this is actually crazier than his character in Dodgeball, but they're very similar. Tony Perkis and White Goodman are very similar characters.
I would agree. I would agree to that. Now, in Heavyweights, don't his parents have an actual cameo in that one?
His parents have a cameo. They're the people who own the park that they run out of money and have to sell the park to him.
To him,
and they're not related in the movie. And then Ben Stiller plays his character's father with makeup and a ponytail, and that's a lot of fun. And as as a husky kid growing up, that movie was a movie that always resonated with me. And Paul Feig is in it, who directed the female Ghostbusters and Bridesmaids. He's one of the camp counselors. He's the skinny camp counselor who used to be fat, and they all make fun of him for being skinny. And has a great cast. It was from the people who made Mighty Ducks, which is why the actor who played Goldberg is not doing too well no more. He's in it. And you have a couple other child actors, Kenan Thompson, who was also in Mighty Ducks 2 and 3. He's in it as well. And if you haven't seen Heavyweights, I don't know what you're doing with your life. It's one of the most quotable movies. I quote it all the time.
I remember when you were young, you used to play it all the time. And
all the time while I'm walking that way. I have them on the body system. The body system? Body! Body! But where are you from, Laws? Far away. They tie him up to a tree and they cover him in honey and tell him the bears are going to come eat him.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like, the bears love honey. And he starts screaming. There's no bears in these woods. He starts screaming. They run over, and there's a deer looking at him. And he's like, help me. Please help me. And he's like, will you help us, Lars? He's like, I'll help you. I love you. Please. Oh, I love that movie so much. It's so cool. Let's play the game where we learn each other's names. Well, we already know each other's names. I constantly will quote that movie. I love that movie.
It's fun. I didn't realize that Judd Apatow.
Yeah.
It was his first, because I wouldn't associate him with that movie.
Yeah.
I associated him on more of an adult level.
He did that, and then he did the show Freaks and Geeks, and they did a couple other things. He started on the Larry Sanders Show. That was the first thing Judd Apatow did. He was a writer on Larry Sanders Show, and that was the first thing he directed. And I think it went from Heavyweights and Larry Sanders Show was around the same time, and then eventually he did Freaks and Geeks in like 99, 2000. And then his career all went from there, because most of the cast members that he used, he cast in Freaks and Geeks, his show. And then his show after that, Undeclared. Most of his cast members, Jay Baruchel, Jason Segel, James Franco, Seth Rogen, all started on one of those two shows.
I love that when a director and the actors get along and you see them in a,
And he watched them grow up, because he cast them as high school kids on Freaks and Geeks. So he watched them all grow up. So he kind of is their father figure in Hollywood.
That is so cool. I like that when directors use the same people. They get along working with them.
So now we're going to go into the portion where I start talking.
Okay.
I saw two movies. We're going to talk one, then we're going to go to another video, and then we're going to talk the other. I saw the big film of the week, Jordan Peele's Us. We have a photo we can show, poster. Jordan Peele's Us, Jordan Peele's second film, starring Lupita Nyong'o in two roles. Actually, every person in the film plays 2 roles, which is fantastic. It's a horror film, very similar to Jordan Peele's film Get Out. That is the entire cast. I don't remember the kid actors' names, but it's Winston Duke on the left and Lupita Nyong'o on the right, in the middle, right middle. And this film made $71 million this weekend. It is the highest grossing original live-action film since Avatar.
Wow.
So
really?
in 10 years.
I want to see it, but am I going to be scared?
So some people find it very scary. I didn't think it was too scary. I think it did have a lot of scary elements. So Get Out for me, let me just preface it with, Get Out was my favorite film of 2017.
Yes.
I love Get Out. I've watched Get Out a dozen times in the past 2 years. I absolutely adore that.
Awesome movie.
It's a great movie. That movie left me unsettled when that movie ended. I literally stood up in the theater and said, I'm never dating a white woman again, and I was shaking. And I went home and I was shaking, and that movie left me unsettled, and just the thinking about that movie, even rewatching it, it still gets to me because the mental stuff of that movie, and it's fantastic, and I love that movie. So going into this, I think everyone had a lot of preconceived notions, especially now Jordan Peele is considered like the new king of horror. He's making the new Twilight Zone.
Yes.
He's doing Us. You know, he's doing all these really big things. And I thought Us was fantastic, but I do think I enjoyed Get Out a lot more than I enjoyed Us. And Us does have this weird thing that I've noticed where either you really liked it, you thought it was great, or you hated it. Because there's a cluster of people that I know that think it's the worst movie they've ever seen, which I don't get because I don't see that. I can understand why you would have issues with certain things. Some people don't like certain twists and stuff, and they do. I think he did a good job of making you have that unsettling feeling still, but it didn't hit the same way that it hit in Get Out.
All right, and now Us, you said was inspired by
It is inspired by a Twilight Zone episode. I believe the episode's called Mirror Image.
Right.
And it's inspired by that, and it's a family. The episode's a little different, but the film is a family is going away for a weekend in Santa Cruz, and 4 strange people show up at the house, and they look exactly like them, and that's all I'm going to say.
Wow, I do want to see it. I wanted to see it this weekend, but as I said, I had the roast on Saturday, and Sunday I was getting roasted, so I couldn't do it. I may go see it this weekend.
Yeah, hopefully if you have a chance this weekend to go, I'd highly recommend it. If you haven't seen it and you're interested in seeing it, there's a lot of people I know that haven't seen it that are asking me about it, and they want to see it, and I say go see it, because you should always listen to other people and take it under advisement, even with reviews, but you should always go for yourself. And because you're going to be the best barometer for a movie.
Absolutely. And you have said in the past you don't really like reviews that much anyway.
I like reviews. I do reviews. I like reviews.
Yeah, but
I don't like using review as... when I look at reviews, I don't watch one review or read one review. I watch and read 5 or 6 reviews to get more of a consensus from reviewers that I follow and know their tastes, and know that their tastes either fit mine or they don't fit mine, or I know what they like and don't dislike because I've been watching their videos for 5 years, 4 years, 3 years. I've been listening to their podcasts for a year. I can kind of, the more you watch somebody, like the more people watch this show. They kind of get an idea of how I am as a reviewer. When I do other videos, you kind of get an idea of my interests and what I am into, my tastes. Everyone's taste is different. The only person that's going to be able to judge your taste is you.
Absolutely.
And I think this is a film that really shows that. I don't think there's some graphic stuff, but I don't think it's too crazily graphic, but there is some graphic stuff in the movie. Definitely not for children, that's why it's rated R. I think most people should enjoy it, but that's entirely up to the person. I think you should definitely see it this weekend.
I'm going to try. I think I will see it this weekend. Your mom doesn't want to go with me because she'll be scared. But if you're free, you come with me. If not, I'll go by myself. But I definitely want to see it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm really interested in him. He did a great job because I liked him as a comedian.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's a really good comedic actor and writer and director.
And then he did Get Out, and I was interested in that, and then I saw it, and I was impressed. and I thought, wow, this man's very talented. And now he followed up. And the one thing, I didn't go by the reviews either, because I have a problem sometimes reading a newspaper review, because it tends, sometimes they can't keep a secret. Sometimes they want to.
Yeah,
and this is one of those movies where I knew if I read too much of the review, they're going to give away something I don't want to know until I see the movie. So all I read in the reviews was that they liked it and they thought it was a great follow-up to Get Out.
Yeah, no, I do think it fits really well in that same mold. I don't know if exactly it was the same universe, but definitely in the same mold. And the one thing about this, too, that we all said about Get Out that it kind of felt like a Twilight Zone episode.
Yes.
This one even more so feels like a Twilight Zone episode, I would say. But that's something I really liked about it because I love Twilight Zone. We did a whole episode about it last week. If you haven't seen it, go to our Twilight Zone episode last week or the James Bond episode 2 weeks ago.
Right.
We did some great episodes recently.
Yes, we have.
But I would highly recommend watching it if you're a fan of Twilight Zone. I think if you go in with the mindset of thinking of it like a Twilight Zone episode, like a Twilight Zone movie, it works really great.
Wow, and that's great because as we mentioned just to touch on last week, we said that we've been waiting for somebody to write those type of stories again and do that. So,
and then you have this person.
So I'm looking forward to it, and I am looking forward to what he's going to do with the Twilight Zone series. I think that my expectations for that series are going to be above my expectations for any other Twilight Zone copies.
Yeah, you know? So you're very excited.
I'm very excited. I am going to get that.
It starts next week, I believe. I believe it starts April 1st.
April 1st,
so next week.
It's a CBS.
CBS All Access.
All Access.
And they released 2 trailers, I think yesterday. I watched them this morning. And for 2 episodes. One was a old episode being redone, which was The Nightmare on 30,000 Feet, starring Adam Scott. And the other episode was a new episode called The Comedian, starring Kumail Nanjiani and Tracy Morgan.
I saw that trailer.
You saw that one? Yeah, they both came out, I think, around the same time.
Yeah,
I saw both
and that
this
one
morning.
looked good. The Comedian looked good.
It looks interesting. I like how it feels like the old Twilight Zone, but it's modernized because the shadowy figure is not smoking cigarettes because he don't smoke cigarettes anymore. He's got a big vape. Tracy Morgan's got a big vape, and he's hitting the vape, telling him, you know, I can make all your dreams come true. And it feels like an old Twilight Zone episode where the shadowy figure comes to the person wanting great success and gives them this thing, and it feels like that.
I can't wait. So I am going to get the CBS All Access.
CBS All Access.
All Access. I'm going to get
I don't know the price. I believe it's under $10, probably like $6, $7.
It better be under $10.
And we'll also be able to watch Star Trek Discovery. So that's and all the Raymond you can handle. Also, you a big NCIS guy?
There's a lot of CBS has a lot of great programming from the past.
Man with a Plan.
Man with a Plan. I like
Murphy
that show.
Brown. Murphy Brown 2.
Murphy Brown 1 was funny.
Yeah, exactly. So that's my review of Us. We're going to go to another trailer.
Wow.
We're going to go to the trailer for one of my favorite movies of last year.
Cool.
It won Best Documentary at the Academy Awards. And I want to show the trailer, and then I want to talk about it just for a second because I've told you about it, but I don't think I ever made you watch the trailer. So I'm going to make you watch the trailer because this is the only way I can do it. And when we come back, I'm going to do a review of Shazam.
Wow.
So
that's exciting.
Here's the trailer for Free Solo.
Does it feel different to be up there without a rope?
It's obviously like much higher consequence.
People who know a little bit about climbing, they're like, oh, he's totally safe. And then people who really know exactly what he's doing are freaked out.
I've thought about all cap like for years, and every year I'm like, that's really scary. I'll never be content unless I at least put in the effort. El Cap is the most impressive wall on Earth.
It's 3,200 feet of sheer granite. It's the center of the rock climbing universe.
Obviously, I get interview questions about it all the time. Oh, would you like to do that? And you're like, yes, for sure.
So you have a girlfriend now, I heard.
It was awesome. Pretty much makes life better in every way.
It's really hard for me to grasp why he wants this. But if he doesn't do this stuff, he'd regret it.
Everybody who has made free soloing a big part of their life is dead now.
I haven't been injured in like 7 years. I suddenly start getting injured all the time.
What if something happens? What if I don't see him again?
I could just walk away, but it's like, I don't want to.
I've always been conflicted about shooting a film about free soloing just because it's so dangerous. It's hard to not imagine your friend falling through the frame to his death.
I think when he's free soloing, that's when he feels the most alive, most everything. How can you even think about taking it away from somebody?
No mistakes tomorrow.
Starting to get kind of psyched.
If you're pushing the edge, eventually you find the edge.
I can't believe you guys are actually gonna watch.
Hey Jimmy, do you copy? Just started climbing.
And we're back, and that was the trailer for Free Solo.
That trailer made me dizzy. That trailer is awesome. I do want to see the movie now.
And a fun fact, the first time I actually saw that trailer was today. Because I did not see the trailer before I went to see it. That was actually an instance where several reviewers that I follow that I really like, Slash Film Podcast and Dan Merle from Screen Junkie specifically, raved about Free Solo and how great it was and how people should go see it on the biggest screen you possibly could. So I went and saw it in IMAX. I went and saw that film in IMAX, and it blew me away. It was one of the best in-theater experiences I've had with a documentary. And watching that specifically was probably the only documentary that could really work in IMAX.
You know, I was thinking of that as you were saying that. There are very few documentaries I could think of that I would want to see on IMAX, but somebody climbing a rock face.
The cinematography is breathtaking. It looks so good. It's like I said, it's a character study, and I think the trailer really shows that it's a character study of Alex Honnold and what the mindset of a person who does something like this.
And now the other people who were involved in the film crew,
yes,
they mountain climbers as well.
The entire
right?
crew is mountain climbers.
Wow.
It's an entire crew of only mountain climbers.
So that's awesome.
And it was directed by a husband and wife. And the husband was Jimmy Chin. He's actually in the video. He was the one that was talking about not wanting to record somebody free soloing because he didn't want to record someone falling to their death. He's one of the directors. And then his wife, I believe, does a lot of the editing, but she was also on set with everything. And I don't really know this for sure, but based on a lot of interviews and stuff, it seemed like he kind of focused more on the actual climbing stuff, and she kind of focused more on the family stuff. So it was the combination of the two that was able to make such a good, cohesive film.
And they won, as you said, they won
Best Documentary at the Academy
Best
Awards.
Documentary. And I was very happy because I remember you reviewed it the day you saw it, I think.
Yeah, right after I saw it, I reviewed it.
You reviewed it. And,
I was in love with them,
and you spoke highly of it. And then when I saw that they won, I was like, great, that's good.
Yeah, no, it was awesome that they won.
And they deserve it. From what you've told me about the documentary, I think they deserved it.
It was, I can't say enough good things about it. It's now on Hulu. Anybody wants to watch it, it is on Hulu, so Free Solo should come right up on Hulu. I think it's in like the top like popular and like new movies, but look it up, Free Solo, fantastic documentary.
So now I have a documentary to watch over the weekend as well.
Exactly, so there you go. So here comes part 2 of my review for this week. I saw the second movie I saw this week, which does not come out this week. It doesn't come out for another 2 weeks.
Yeah, you're a very lucky individual.
Comes out, next week now. But it comes out, it hasn't come out yet. And I got to see DC's Shazam. And we have a photo right here. Shazam, also known as Captain Marvel. Shazam starring Zachary Levi. Here's a photo of Shazam in the comics. Also, this is actually when he was Captain Marvel. This was an Alex Ross. I believe this was for Kingdom Come, which is a great comic book. And then I have an international poster that I found of Shazam, which has Shazam, has Freddy, Jack Dylan Grazer. The other little kid in the red is Billy Batson, who becomes Shazam. And then the villain in the back is Mark Strong, who plays I thought was a great villain. And Shazam, for those who don't know, is one of the oldest superheroes.
Right, yes.
He's been around as long as Superman and Batman, maybe even a little longer. He was around the same time as Superman. And Captain Marvel is a 15-year-old boy who is given powers by a wizard that when he shouts Shazam, he is struck by lightning and he has the powers of a Superman type hero.
Right.
And this, I'm not going to sugarcoat, this is my favorite DC film that's not a Nolan Batman movie.
I know, you said that to me, and that really makes me want to see it now, because, so you're saying that the Nolan, Christopher Nolan Batman trilogy is like the best.
That's the best that DC's done.
I agree with you. I will say that's the best. And now you put this up there with it.
I would put that right under it. I would say it's great. It does all the things you want. It works for adults. It works for kids. And it gave me the same feelings that I had watching movies when I was younger, because it has like almost a cross between very much a Big vibe, and they even make a Big joke. But it's like, take Superman and you cross it with Big and Gremlins. And that's kind of what you get.
I'm looking forward to it. And it has a sense of humor, right?
Yeah, it has a huge sense of humor. And they did a great job of getting a cast. You got Mark Strong, who is almost constantly a villain and is always great as a villain. And you had Zachary Levi in his first like real big movie role. He's mostly known as he was Chuck on NBC's Chuck on TV.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember that.
And he's been in a lot of different roles, movies. But this is his first big role as Shazam, and a lot of people didn't think he was right for the role. They thought he was too scrawny. They didn't think he could really do it. And he's not like a huge guy, but you don't really need to be. And I thought he played it perfectly.
Yeah, he doesn't have to be really, because I'm thinking of it that you could get somebody super muscular who can't really act.
Exactly.
But to me, you need somebody with comedic timing. You need to be passable.
It's a very difficult role because you're not playing a superhero. You're playing a 15-year-old boy who's a superhero.
That is awesome.
So you have to play into that, and they play up that very well. And the character Billy Batson's an orphan who's in a foster home, and I thought they did an amazing job of showing, because we've seen superheroes with orphans.
Yes.
Batman. Every Batman movie, Batman's an orphan. This is a great look at a superhero who's an orphan in a completely different way, because he's not a rich kid. He's just a normal kid, and his foster family. The foster family is great. I don't remember the actor's name, but he's the big Samoan guy on Walking Dead.
Oh, okay.
He plays the foster dad.
Oh,
and
cool.
He's very good in it. And the kids are all really good. Jack Dylan Grazer, who played Eddie in It, he plays his friend Freddy, who is a crippled, and he's obsessed with superheroes. He's got an authentic Superman bullet that was shot at him.
Oh,
he has a Batman
cool.
Batarang, a replica. He loves superheroes, and that works really well too, because you're able to play up. Shazam doesn't work as well in a world where he's the only superhero. It works better when there's Superman and Batman to compare him
so
to.
they talk about the other, and you don't see them, but they talk about it. Yeah.
And they do a great job of doing an origin story in a familiar but new territory. And a lot of what I felt with the villain, because some people don't like the villain that much, Mark Strong. Some people think it's too hokey or campy. The vibe I got from the villain was almost the same vibe I had with Willem Dafoe as Green Goblin in Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. And I love Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin. And it's a little different because he's not as hammy in his acting as Willem Dafoe, Mark Strong. He's a little bit drier. But that's what I felt in that performance. It had a similar, the way that they present the villain and everything. There's like a boardroom scene. He might destroy a boardroom similar to how he does it in Spider-Man. And there's a lot of stuff like that they do really good. And there's a lot of dark tone.
Wow,
And
okay.
they do a great job. The first 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, is all setting up the villain and the world of Shazam and magic and all the stuff they've never covered before in the DC universe. And I thought they did a great job of that. And then went into Billy Batson and him becoming Shazam.
I'm really looking forward to it. I am. I can't wait.
It's fantastic. I can't say enough nice things.
They've been showing the trailers, and I laugh at every I'm laughing. I've heard some of those jokes already for like 6 months.
Even seeing the movie in theaters, it was just so, when he appears at the convenience store and he's like, I'd like to purchase your finest beer, please. And just like looks at him because he's a 15-year-old kid.
Now, you saw it. It was a full.
It was pretty crowded. Yeah. I had to go to a theater very far away because all the other theaters were sold out. Because my one friend took too long to figure out if he wanted to go.
And this was a advanced.
It was an advanced screen. They did it Saturday at 4 and 7. So I went to the 7 o'clock show.
So now, what was the audience reaction?
They'd all seem really, really positive, except for the one guy in front of me, who I think he read a comic book once. And then they froze him for like 10 to 15 years. And then he came out. And because his reactions. So Shazam's character's named Shazam. He used to originally be named Captain Marvel.
Right.
Due to rights issues with Marvel, they changed Captain Marvel's name to Shazam, which was normally the thing he would say when he got struck by lightning and the wizard that gave him his powers name was Shazam. And they changed it where he's the champion of Shazam, so he shares the name with Shazam. And Miss Marvel from the Marvel Universe became Captain Marvel.
Right.
So it's kind of confusing. So it's funny that you get a Captain Marvel movie and a Captain Marvel movie back to back. Within a month of each other. For the first time ever, you get Captain Marvel and Captain Marvel. And, Captain Marvel's great, but have you seen Captain Marvel?
All right, but some people, they see Shazam and they don't know this history of it.
So during the movie when he's like, oh, he's not Captain Marvel? They don't... What? So he can't say his name? So you're saying he can't tell people what his name is because if he says it, he gets struck by lightning, turns into a kid. I don't get it. Which was something they changed probably like close to 10 years ago now, I'd say.
Oh, longer than that.
And then it's been a while now. And then when Zachary Levi first appeared on screen, literally a scene into he had maybe 4 lines of dialogue. I hear this guy talking, people going, I hate this guy. This guy ruined the whole movie. This guy ruined the whole. And then 5 minutes later, he's laughing at everything he said. Enough about that guy.
All right, I hate movies like if you're going into a comic book movie or based on, and you don't, just go and enjoy the movie for what it is. And I'm just when Tim Burton came out with his Batman, the first Batman with Jack Nicholson as a Joker, there are a lot of people who were weaned on Batman the TV show, never read a comic. So, but at that time in the DC universe, Robin was dead. So people were saying the reason you didn't see Batman in the Tim Burton movie is because he was murdered. But we don't know about that yet. We're going to find out and I'm like, no, Batman started as Batman, then Robin comes. And you couldn't, these people that never read a comic book, just go enjoy the movie for what it is.
Yeah, take the movie for what it is. I've had that where people get upset when they leave a movie. That was a great movie. When I saw Thor Ragnarok, it was great. And this guy was walking out at the same time as me. And the guy's like, oh, we're never going to get to Planet Hulk. I'm like, you got Planet Hulk. They took Planet Hulk and they mixed it with Thor and you got it in this movie. And he's like, yeah, but I wanted a Planet Hulk. And this is... People get so mad that there's no Planet Hulk movie. And I remember in college saying to somebody, they'll never make a Planet Hulk movie. They're not going to make a $300 million, 2.5-hour Marvel movie where there's not one human character and your main character is the Hulk. They were able to do it, but they had to do it in a different way. They couldn't do it like that.
Right,
they were able to give you a truncated version of it in Thor Ragnarok. Maybe one day they could do it, but they would never be able to do Planet Hulk or World War Hulk in the way that they did in the comic books.
Okay, but I was thinking what they did with Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh,
maybe they could use that. They could do
animated. Animated is a completely different game because animated, you can do anything with animation.
But that won Best Animated.
Yes, it was my favorite movie of last year.
Me too. It was my favorite animated movie of last year.
It was my favorite movie of last year. Of any kind.
So now with that Marvel's new animation, they could do some movies that... normally.
I'm looking forward to a couple of things they can do. I'm hoping that if they never cross Venom over with the MCU universe, that they bring Tom Hardy in as an animated character in the Spider-Verse movie, so you at least get Tom Hardy voicing Venom and that same character, but in that universe, because that could work, because the Spideyverse. So you just bring him in, and he's from his own universe, and he comes in. That could work really well.
That would be so cool. That would, because I enjoyed Venom. I believe we've spoken about that.
You big Venom fan?
Yeah.
Big Venom fan.
And it's corny. I love it because sometimes I love watching a movie that it's a comic book character and it gets corny. I like the corniness in comic books.
There is some corniness in Shazam too, and that was something I liked about it. It has a big vibe because it's a little kid in an adult's body.
Right.
And it does a lot of stuff like that, and there's no romance. There's no truncated love story. There's nothing like that, and I think that works really well because they didn't try to throw in him falling in love with a girl, but he's an adult, and there's none of that. It's a film about family, finding yourself, and about acceptance, importance of life, and trying to make the best of your situation.
I can't wait. April 5th, right?
Yeah, April 5th, I believe it comes out. Same day as Pet Sematary. So now I can see Pet Sematary the day it comes out because I already saw Shazam and I can see it again.
And I will see Shazam, and I'm not going to see Pet Sematary. I'm sorry.
You should.
I'm not going to see it.
Scaredy cat.
I heard. I'm a scaredy cat. I hear that Stephen King said he enjoys it. He says it's a very scary movie. So they think that him saying that it's a positive review.
Stephen King's been starting to like some of the movies they've actually made about his work because they've been getting people that actually understand his work a lot better now. And I think it's been like, it was fantastic. And I can't wait for Pet Sematary, and It Too I can't wait for, and also Dr. Sleep, which is Shining 2. I'm very excited for that as well.
The Shining 2, that's right.
Shining 2 with Ewan McGregor playing Daniel growing up.
And Stephen King, he made it very clear he did not like Stanley Kubrick's Shining, even though it has a cult following.
No, he's very much against that movie.
But he said that Frank Darabont has done the best versions of his books.
Well, he did Shawshank Redemption, which I still will constantly argue that is the best Stephen King movie. Because we're talking movie. I love it. It's probably one of the best horror movies I've ever seen next to Get Out. But just something about Shawshank Redemption. It scares you in different ways than any other Stephen King story will scare you. The story is amazing. The acting is fantastic. The cinematography is fantastic. The editing is great. The music is great. The story, if you don't know the story and you're watching it for the first time, there's so many twists and turns in that movie that you're not going to know what happens. And if you don't know the ending, it's such a great ending. It's so sad. It's one of the most satisfying endings of a movie.
It's an excellent movie. I happen to like The Green Mile, which is another
Green Mile is great too, and that's another Darabont film.
And Darabont also did The Mist, right?
The Mist, which is also another very good movie.
Yes, no, he did, and Stephen King loves the versions that he did, and one of those, I think it might be The Shawshank Redemption, that is Stephen King's favorite movie of anything he wrote.
No, I believe that. So that was my review of Shazam with some other flavor thrown in there. And we're going to go to one last trailer. It is Free Solo. I loved. It was one of my favorite movies of last year. It's not my favorite documentary of last year, though. Okay. So here is the trailer for my favorite documentary of last year, and it's Three Identical Strangers. Here we go.
I wouldn't believe the story if someone else were telling it, but it's true, every word of it. It started when I went to college. It was the first day of school. All these people are coming up to me saying, "Eddie, how are you? Eddie, hi." I'm like, "My name's not Eddie. I don't know what you're talking about."
As soon as this guy turned around, I knew it was Eddie's double. I said, "You're not going to believe this. You have a twin brother."
Oh my God. As I reached out to knock on the door, it opens. And there I am. His eyes are my eyes, my eyes are his eyes, and it's true.
And then the story went from being amazing to incredible.
It was an article to Twins Reunited. I think I might be the third.
When When people ask me what is the most remarkable story you ever encountered, I tell them it's the story of the triplets.
You guys have been on the front page of every newspaper in the world.
True. They were more like clones than they were like brothers.
It was a miracle.
There was nothing that could keep us apart.
That's when things kind of got funky.
Something was just not right.
They separated these boys at birth. The parents had never been told that there were 2 other children. What was the purpose?
Why? How could you not tell us?
They're trying to conceal what they did from the people they did it to.
When you play with humans, you do something very wrong.
Who would be evil enough to come up with something like this?
There's a lot of powerful people who would like to have this story silenced.
There's still so much that we don't know.
It boggles the mind.
It's a mystery.
I'd like to know the truth.
That was 3 Identical Strangers.
And I remember that story as it played out. So I remember, and then you didn't hear about them anymore. But as I even told you, I met them once.
Yeah, you did meet them once in Huntington.
I met them in Huntington
many moons ago.
Many moons ago at the East Side Comedy Club in Huntington. And they were performing. They had an act. Ippity, bippity, and boop. They were wearing shirts. So that's not in the documentary.
No, that is not in the documentary, because you brought that up to me. I had no idea what you were talking about.
But, yeah, and so I remember that story, and then I remembered reading about, I don't want to give away too much with the documentary, but I read about they wanted their privacy after that.
I've talked about that documentary a lot recently, so I'm not going to go into it a lot more, but that movie, if it was nominated for Best Documentary, which unfortunately it wasn't, I think it deserved to win over Free Solo, but Free Solo was a remarkable movie. But 3 Identical Strangers hit me harder than any other documentary ever has.
Wow.
Free Solo is a more enjoyable watch. Well, they're both very enjoyable watches, but because 3 Identical Strangers has so much stuff about like society and the world and what people are capable of, and it hits you very hard.
Yeah.
Like a lot of documentaries have been recently. It hits you very hard.
I know, and those poor guys that they got into the seriousness of they were separated at birth, and they knew that they,
and people knew about it, didn't do anything. They didn't find out till they were 19.
Right, and I remembered reading about it in the paper. I remembered reading about exactly the story. Went to college, people were saying stuff to him, and he's like he didn't know, and then he found out he had a twin brother. Read that in the paper. The next day, find out another brother read that article and said, "Mom, I got to show you something," and he was a triplet.
Mm-hmm.
He was a third one, and
he's the guy. I think I'm the third. And
they were the nicest guys. You know, when I met them, they were really the nicest guys, and they stayed for the whole show. They did their thing. They stayed. They gave they gave support to all the comics that went up that night.
That's cool.
Yeah, no, they were really. They were. You know, I only met them that one night, but they were because even. There was a girl who wasn't very good at the time, and she was. Some people were starting to leave, get up, and they actually went up to those guys and said, "Give her a chance." Give the girl.
Okay. So they,
They
seem, based on the documentary, they seem like good people.
They were really good guys. They were really good, and the women loved them. They were very handsome.
Oh, the women.
So the host was making jokes. With the girl gave the phone number to one of them. Don't you know what's going to happen? One's going to go out with you. He's going to go in the bathroom. The other one's going to come out. And they were making jokes about it. But but they were really nice guys. They were really nice, and I'm glad to have met them.
Yeah, I wish I had a chance to meet them. I haven't. Maybe one day. But it is a fantastic documentary. Highly recommend seeing it. It is also on Hulu. So you can watch 3 Identical Strangers and Free Solo on Hulu, and Heavyweights has been available for you to watch your entire life. So what do you do?
I've seen Heavyweights many
Heavyweights
times.
is fantastic. So those were the 3 movies. Did both reviews. There was another movie that I did watch this weekend. It is a new Netflix film. It's not the one you're thinking of. I watched the new Motley Crue biopic.
Yeah, I know.
Dirt. And it's the new Motley Crue biopic directed by Jeff Tremaine, whose name has a lot of resonance to me and people of my generation because he was with Johnny Knoxville, co-creator of Jackass.
Oh, okay.
And director of the Jackass films and producer. And this is his first, normal live-action narrative film. That's not like a Jackass movie or some sort of reality
Now,
show.
is it a documentary?
No, it is a biopic.
It's a biopic.
It is a film,
okay.
almost similar to the same way they did Bohemian Rhapsody or most biopics.
Yes.
And not really any big name actors in any of the lead roles. Douglas Booth, who's been in a lot of smaller roles in movies and such, he plays Nicky Six. I forget the actor who plays Vince Neil. Ewan Rayon, who played Ramsay Bolton in Game of Thrones, who's one of the best villains in the history of the show. He plays Mick Mars, the guitarist. And Machine Gun Kelly, the rapper who was in your favorite movie of last year, Bird Box.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
he plays Tommy Lee.
Oh, really? He's Tommy Lee. Okay, I can see that.
And some people really like it. Some people don't like it. I found it a very enjoyable, fun ride. If you want to watch a fun movie about debauchery, and the first 2 minutes really shows you how ridiculous the movie is. If you can sit through the first 2 minutes, you'll be good the rest of the movie. And they do a good job of one thing that they did that Bohemian Rhapsody didn't really do. It feels like it's the movie about the band and not just like how Bohemian Rhapsody was the movie about Freddie Mercury. They go into each character. Each character does a little narration, and they each have their own individual scenes, and you see their family life and how each person gets into the point that they join the band.
Okay, but with Motley Crue, you look at Motley Crue as a band. Unfortunately, with Queen, you
as
look
much as they wanted to be just Queen.
Just Queen. You look at you had a very flamboyant, a very flamboyant lead singer who also wrote with you.
Yes.
But everybody wrote. I mean, Queen did work together, but you have that front man. So sometimes you look at the front man and
I mean, they had a very popular front man in Motley Crue and Vince Neil, but that's one of the only bands I can really think of where the drummer is just as popular. I feel like more people know who Tommy Lee is than they know who Vince Neil is at this point.
Yeah, no.
All these years later.
Some bands like that, where one person stands out. Sometimes they all stand out. With the Rolling Stones, they all stand out. With certain bands, but with Queen, it was different.
There's some fun stuff. I think you'd enjoy. I don't think Mom would like the movie. I think you would like it. There's a fun scene. A lot of it's based on their book that the whole band wrote together.
Cool.
And there's like a scene where they're at a hotel and they're on a tour with Ozzy. And Ozzy comes and he's like, I need a bump. And they're like, we don't have any blow on us. And he's like, no, I need a bump. And he takes a straw and there's a bunch of ants by the pool and he snorts a line of ants.
Oh, man.
And there's a bunch of other things Ozzy does that I can't say on a show, but he snorts a line of ants. And that's a real story. Ozzy Osbourne actually did that. And there's a lot of stuff in the movie that they actually did, and they don't pull punches. They show Tommy Lee hitting one of his girlfriends, and they show them cheating on each other's spouses, and one of them sleep with the record label's girlfriend, and then it cuts to him looking at the camera. And he goes, "I didn't find out till years later. It really hurt. Never leave your girlfriend alone with Motley Crue."
Oh man, no, yeah, that's interesting. I do like those. This is a biopic, so I'm okay. I like the documentaries about bands. I've been watching a lot of them, so I think a biopic done well.
And it's a Netflix movie. It was made for Netflix.
As long as it's honest,
It didn't seem like they pulled that much away because it doesn't really make them look that great. It makes it look like they got their act together in the past 20 years, which I think they kind of did for the most part. But it does not paint them in the best light in the beginning of their career. Like, it shows the band manager, like, he's talking to the camera, and he's like, I toured with Bon Jovi and Aerosmith and everything, and no band took me like Motley Crue did. They didn't care. They didn't do things because they thought that's what rock stars did. They did them because that's what Motley Crue does. They destroy hotels and do all this debauchery. And it's a fun movie. It's not the best biopic, not by any means, but it's a fun, enjoyable.
All right, good. And I'm glad you said that. I just want to bring up, because I said about honest. A movie came out like 2 years ago that nobody even knows about, a biopic. The Jimi Hendrix biopic.
I'll watch it one day.
I will never watch it
It's called
because
Jimmy All's by My Side, starring Andre 3000 as Jimi Hendrix, and they couldn't get any rights to any Jimi Hendrix songs.
because it wasn't based on actual.
It wasn't based on anything that was actual.
They made up. It was Hollywood making up their own story about
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy in a bad light, because Jimmy was really a good guy, and they made him in this hitting his girlfriend, and his girlfriend had to actually come out and
say that none of this happened.
Say that none of this happened. Jimmy was a. I think Jimmy's he had an obsession of he played in the studio so much that musicians didn't want to play with him anymore because he never was happy with anything he did.
Well, I would like to talk about that more, but unfortunately, we've run out of time.
And it was a great show. I want to thank you for the
I
great
did a lot of
reviews.
talking. I did a lot of reviews.
You saw some great films.
I saw a lot of stuff recently.
Very cool.
If I had to rank them, I would say Shazam would be at the top, and then Us, and then The Dirt would be on the bottom. But I did enjoy The Dirt. If you have time to kill, you have Netflix, watch The Dirt. Otherwise, go to the theater, see Shazam, see Us.
See Us. And go on Hulu and watch those two documentaries.
And go on Hulu and watch the documentaries. We'll see you next week. We're going to do a baseball episode next week in honor of opening day. And we'll see you guys next week. Have a good night.
Have a great weekend. Or whatever.